Alright, welcome to the solutions for the histograms and bar graphs assignment. So something a bit about this is I'm putting the answers already down. I'll show you the answers and then I'll explain where I got them from, rather than drawing it out. Because when you get to these graphs here, it's more just me just drawing them rather than really explaining what's going on. So here on number one, you're just reading this graph here. How many employees were taken in the survey? Well, you have to count how tall each of these is, and then you add that up. And so that's 6 plus 8 plus 5 plus 4 plus 1. And that comes out to 24. How many work less than 20 minutes? Well, that's going to be this bar here to the left of the 20. And how many are less than 40 minutes? That'd be from the 40 left. So you have to add those bars up. Comes out to be 14. And how many employees take 60 minutes to get to work? Well, if you're looking for 60 is in this column here, the one that doesn't have a bar. And so that would be 0, because there's no employees at all in that bar. And moving down to 2, what's the favorite ice cream? That's just the tallest one, which is ice cream. And how many students? That'd be 20, because it's 20 tall. How many selected cake is their favorite dessert? That's just how tall it is, 10. How many students said yogurt? That's just how tall that one is. That one's about 12. That one's a little bit hard because it doesn't have a little tick mark over here, but I'm guessing it's 12. At least 12 looks about right. The next one, how many students were selected? How many more students selected ice cream than pudding? Well, pudding, that was about 5 tall, and ice cream, we already said was 20 tall, and so 20 minus 5 gives you 15. Moving on to the next part, you're supposed to make a histogram of this data here. And then on 4, you're supposed to make a bar graph of that data there. I did that on the side here. The number of pets, the intervals, I just did 1 for each block there, because that's what it said, use an interval of 1 pet. And remember with histograms, the left number gets included in the bar and the right one doesn't. And so all the zeros go up to 5, because there are 5 people in the 0 category. And then 1 is the one that's going to be 8 tall, and so on and so forth, and your bar graph is going to look something like that. The histogram will look something like this. The bar graph, on the other hand, should look something like this guy here. I had to go, I counted 1 on each tick mark going up, and so I had to add 1 at the top to get up to 14, because North America had 14 in that class, 14 students there. So that's why that's 14 tall. And there's no one in Australia, so that's why it doesn't have a bar over there. Moving down to 5 and 6, these ones, you had to make a histogram of the data there, and then a bar graph of that data there. I made it real quick for the top. I made a frequency table. So the number of heads was this row, and then how many times that number of heads showed up there. 3, 7, 8, 2. And that's where how tall my bars are. Counted by 2s going up, and then number of heads 0, 1, 2, and 3. And that's what your bar graph would look like if we did that. The histogram would look like the bar graph on the right side. I just put the categories on the horizontal component there, and then how many people fit in that category going down. Also counting by 2s gave me your bar graph looks like that. Moving on to the next part, with a dot plot, that's what this guy is. It's basically a number line, and then you put a dot above the number based on how many times it showed up. So these numbers all showed up just once, but 42 showed up twice, 45 showed up twice, and 50 showed up 3 times. And so if you just count up all the dots, how many data points, it comes out to be 15. To get the mean of the data, you have to add all these numbers up. So I just did 35 plus 36 plus 38 plus 40 plus 42 plus 42. So 2 dots, I had to put 42 in there twice. 44, 45 twice, 47 once, 48 once, 49 once, and 53 times. Into my calculator, added that up, and divided by the 15, the number of dots there are, and I got 40.1 for my mean. And in figuring out the median, this is your data in order. And I basically just started crossing off dots in my data set until I got to my middle number. Here, let me do that, and it came out to be 45. And on the next one, to make a dot plot, you had to put a number line down, I did mine from 16 to 27, and just counting by ones, and you just put vertical dots on how many that showed up. You notice how 19 is really tall, because there's a lot of 19s in this data set. And so that's what the mode of the data set is. Moving on to the next one. Again, making a dot plot of the data, put a number line down first, and then I count it by ones and put the dots above it over how many times it shows up. I typically just start with the left number, put the dot down, and pick the next number, put a dot down, and that way you just go straight from left to right through your data, and your dot plot just kind of generates and you can get it there. The range of the data just goes from the highest number to the lowest one. So 14 minus 1 comes out to be 13, and you weren't supposed to get standard deviation. Moving on to the next part. Here's our lovely histogram for how long it takes people to get ready. With intervals, they indicates the answer the students most gave. That'd be the tallest one, the 30 to 39 minutes. To get the number of people who answered, you just count up how tall the histograms are. So 3, 7, 2, and 3. If you add all that up, that comes out to be 15. And how many students take less than 40 minutes? Well, you have to go to 40 and count how many to the left of it. That's 7 and 3. Add that up, gives you 10. Why might no students have given the answer of 50 to 59 minutes? Well, if this one only has like 15 people question, and so there's a chance that, there are people who take, 50 to 59 minutes to get ready, just they weren't part of the 15 people that they chosen. And so, we have a huge population, typically like the population of a school, and you only ask 15 people, that's only a small portion of the student body, and you won't get all the variability that's in the student body. And so that, I'm just saying, you might not have 59 minutes just because you didn't ask a lot of people. And the next question, with the information, could you redraw the current histogram with intervals half their current size? No, you can't. Okay, histograms just tell you how many are in the category. It doesn't say how many people are in the with the individual numbers. Like, for example, you don't have any idea how many for certain are in the 20 to 24 minute window. Right here, all of those could have been people who took 25 minutes to get ready. So 3 people who took 25 minutes. And you wouldn't be able to make that bar for certain on that 20 to 24 minute mark. And moving on to the last part, we did this part in class, but on this part I like using the interval of 20 wide, because then we don't have a lot of categories. And it just makes it a little bit easier for making it. But we do lose some of the visual aspect of it when we make large intervals. Anyway, I counted out the numbers. I have this little box here. I marked them off as I counted them, and comes out with the frequency of 5, 12, 5, and 3. And after you have that, you can make your histogram. The ages range here on the horizontal component. Up here is the frequency. Oh, I should add that there. But yeah, that's going to be the whole assignment.